Well, almost 12 hours after the president delivered his State of the Nation address, we've had a number of mixed reactions to the address, but more importantly, the headline that the first gentleman of the land, President John Dramani Mahama, says the power crisis we're facing, we shouldn't get worried at all. He's not going to manage it. He's really going to fix it. I was retweeting on Twitter yesterday. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but what's the fun in that? I'm not going to fix it, but I'm not going to manage it by fix it.
That's showing that if I'm not able to fix it, it means I have failed. And I believe the president.
Let me tell you the reality, though. I've been in darkness for the past 24 hours. That's the reality. And so I don't know, but I'm not being too hard on you, Mr. President. I'm just looking at, okay, so after the speech, did I have electricity? No. I'm still sleeping in it. And I don't know what the clear way is. What's the way forward? The clear one. I mean, the immediate one.
When you get power cuts, this is the reply. Enyeshi.
I mean, when you get home and you can't really get anything to eat, and you have to do soakings or something because there's nothing in the fridge and you don't have light, so you can't quickly blend any tomatoes or, that is reality, really.
I'm becoming a Rastafarian right now. Rastafari, come down, save the girl.
Hello.
We need help.
I'm just telling Mr. President that yes, brilliant speech and all, but the reality is we're still sleeping in darkness, and that's, for me personally, is my greatest concern.
Well, the good thing is, after my foods went bad in my fridge, it's been mopped, cleaned well, so it looks new, and so I'm happy. When I open it and I see it, I say, wow.
In the empty fridge,
it looks new.
You are happy and you say, wow.
It looks new.
Amazing. But it's the 27th of February. We'll welcome you to our show. My name is Mama Vioso.
Mine is Roland Walker, and this is what we want you to do after listening to or watching the president. And we're told that within the period, the whole of Accra was full of light. So we know that at least you watched or you listened. And if you listen, please give us your reactions through our social media pages. On Facebook, Join News on TV, and the handle we have on Twitter, Join News on TV. Personally, we have handles on Twitter. Ro Walker Ghana is my handle on Twitter. Please tweet at me.
All right, so we'll start off with our reflections. We'll come back and tell you the latest news information here on the AM show. We welcome you to our show.
Good morning.
My principle is to put your mind to whatever that you have in, you need to do. Like, whatever that you want to do, you should put your mind to it, because it pays. Like, do unto others what you want others to do unto you.
Reflection there from Yaira. Well, so we have to bring you the latest news update.
Yeah, definitely. Straight out into action, and President John Mahama has made an emphatic pledge to fix the power crisis currently facing the country.
Among the measures he says will be evolved include an overhaul of the power sector into a customer-responsive and efficient organization. The pledge made in the 2015 State of the Nation address comes on the back of criticism that he's failed to deliver on his numerous promises to tackle the current energy crisis.
Well, the president also stated the country will tap a lot more thermal, solar and biogas sources for electricity.
Meanwhile, a section of the public was denied the opportunity of following President Mahama's State of the Nation address on Thursday because they did not have power.
Our colleague Latif Idris was out and about and has come through with this report.
Mahama delivers the State of the Nation address today, but the people of Kokompe bus stop do not even have electricity to monitor the address.
In an economy that you don't have electricity, I mean, how are you going to work? I mean, and things will move up. I've asked it so many times and I can't even understand it. I mean, they should help us. If there's a secret that, I mean, it's not known, it should be made available, or, I mean, it should be explained to all of us.
The lot-off is too much.
That is it.
Fridge, free. This thing, iron, free. The main light, free. Why free?
The erratic power supply in the national capital is even worse here in Fadama. And as the president delivers the State of the Nation address, the reaction of the people here is no different from that of the people of Kokompe.
We have a loud out this morning, and we don't have generator to watch it. That's why we are not watching. So we don't know what he's saying. Yeah.
Now, what are two key things you would like President Mahama to touch on in the State of the Nation address?
Okay, we want him to tackle the whole nation's crisis. This is about the light crisis we are having now. In fact, it's affecting us very well. That's one. And the economy too is hurting us too much. So we want him to do something about it for us.
I get TV here, but no light. How can I watch the TV? Okay. I want to listen to what is going on in the world, but I don't get light because of I have TV, everything, but no light. Okay.
The few Ghanaians who were privileged to watch the address, however, were impressed with the president's address, although they were skeptical about its promises.
I'm not a fan of the president, I might say, but looking at the keynote about the roads and stuff, I was quite okay if indeed they can complete all those projects in time, so that as Ghanaians, that's what we have voted for as a president, to just give us good stuff. So for me, if he's able, and the key point is if he's able to accomplish all those he said, for me, it's a plus for him.
It was very positive ideas by our president, but it has been always the same. Every year, new promises, new ideas, but the implementation, it does not come.
President Mahama in the State of the Nation address gave the assurance the power crisis will be completely dealt with soon, listing a variety of sources of power generation including Asogli Phase 2, Cornet and General Electric, which is expected to generate 1,000 megawatts.
Okay, so this is clear. Not everybody had power. My home didn't have power.
Okay. So what were they reacting to? And we'll bring you a clip of the president's speech.
Well, meanwhile, the president's statement on health in the 58th edition of the State of the Nation address, he indicated a number of hospital projects that the government will be undertaking between now and 2017.
A 420-bed Rich Hospital expansion project. A 104-bed police hospital project. And this is a beautiful one. A 500-bed military hospital project located in Kumasi. This will be the second military hospital in Ghana. And I asked the soldiers what they would call it. And they said it will still be 37 military hospital, Kumasi. Include a 120-bed hospital facility at Dodowa, Mr. Speaker, in Fomena, in Kumau, in Abetifi, in Garu Timpani, in Sekandi and Takrady, where the old European hospital is being refurbished. We're also constructing a 60-bed hospital. Mr. Speaker, in Tepa, in Nsoko, in Konongo, in Madina, in Salaga, and Trifopraso. Mr. Speaker, we've also completed and commissioned for use 3 district hospitals in Ejumako, Esam, and Zabzugo.
Meanwhile, the minority spokesperson on health, Dr. Richard Anani, says the president's focus on ways of finding a solution to the cholera outbreak in the country is more prudent, which is also reducing workforce as people without the disease, the infrastructure would also not be available, because many of these structures really are white elephants.
If you look at the maternal mortality rate, as of 2008 up to 2010, the maternal mortality rate in Ghana was 350. We are striving to achieve our Millennium Development Goals. But instead of reducing our maternal mortality rate, today the maternal mortality rate is 380 per 100,000. So it means that we have failed in catering for our pregnant women. For the past 2 years, since the latter part of 2013, Accra in particular and some parts of the country have been going through the scourge of cholera. I'm not sure whether people are aware, but people are dying from cholera. I do not expect that cholera can be taken to be a mere health matter. Cholera is more a matter which cuts across sectors. Now, the kind of actions that we're taking did not, to some of us, clarify that we are tackling the scourge of sanitation and therefore the scourge of cholera. So it means that our people are going to continue to die from cholera. Now, if you look at this and we are told that, health centers are going to be built, clinics are going to be built, to some of us, if you build infrastructure and the people are dead, who goes to take advantage of the infrastructure? So take care of the living. And as you take care of them, you go ahead and also ensure that you put up the infrastructure. It's a two-way matter. If you don't keep the people alive, you will end up creating infrastructure with no use.
Well, still in Parliament in relations to the President's Nation address, he also said that importation of agricultural products has significantly reduced.
Mr. Speaker, the initiatives that I introduced last year have already started bearing fruit. In the area of rice cultivation, for example, local production increased by 60%. According to the latest statistics from the Bank of Ghana, our rice import bill fell by a whopping 41%, reducing from $467.2 million in 2013 to $275.1 million in 2014. Mr. Speaker, in Comenda, in the Central Region, a new sugar factory is under construction. When completed, this factory will enable us to reduce significantly the over $300 million we spend annually on sugar imports. We'll also be able to support local industries such as beverage and ice cream manufacturers who require large quantities of sugar products, sugar for their products.
And following this also, there's been a reaction as the ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efriakoto, disagrees with the President.
Last year when he came here, he himself confessed that the country spends $1.5 billion on importing 7 basic food staples into this country. Food items which can be produced competitively by farmers in this country. Farmers are not producing enough, and we've had to spend precious $1.5 billion to import these food items to feed the people of this country. When he came this time round, he's been very, very selective. He just took 2 items, rice and what else, and sugar. I mean, the Commander Sugar Factory is far from being commissioned, and yet he's saying that it's going to reduce sugar imports, value of sugar imports by half. How does he know that? Because it hasn't even started. The project has barely started. And the same thing for rice. Poultry that he talked about. I know that under the scheme that the ministry initiated last year, some of the products which should have been sold during Christmas are still in the storerooms of the producers. They are not being taken.
We're still staying with what people make of the President's address as he delivered it yesterday in Parliament. Here's MP for Manswe Dubia, Yao Frimpong Ado, who says the President's State of the Nation address was another rendition of the budget statement read by Finance Minister Sid Tekbe.
It's just a repetition of everything that the budget that was presented on his behalf by the Finance Minister. It's just a repetition of it. At the stage I said, is it a rendition of the IMF bailout budget that is coming, that he's reading to us? If everything he said was true, then I'm telling you, this country, we will not be in this mess at all. If all those things that the president said, you are supposed to give us the state of the nation, and then maybe prefer some way forward to us. But as I sat through the long period that he read the statement, all I said was that this was a rendition of the budget statement and not the state of the nation that should come from the president. For me, that's the bottom line.
Well, so Member of Parliament for Mansu Edubia, Frimpongado, reacting to the president's speech there. Well, Ghana has already concluded negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, for a 3-year program which will provide nearly $1 billion in financial assistance or aid to revive the country's economy.
The deal, announced by an IMF delegation which has been in the country to finalize the arrangements, will however need approval from the board of the fund when it meets sometime in April this year, ahead of the IMF mission to Ghana, disclosed at a news conference in Accra on Thursday.
Meanwhile, government under the agreement will be required to restrain spending over the next 3 years, increase tax collection, and also cut subsidies. In an interview with Joy News, George Riafe, Tuyas Benati also outlined other areas that government might have to work on.
Benefits from the program. The program will basically rest on 3 main pillars to achieve this sustained fiscal consolidation. First, restraining and prioritizing public expenditure with a transparent budget process. Second, increasing revenue collection for the budget. And third, the strengthening of the effectiveness of the monetary policy of the central bank in order to achieve lower inflation over the medium term. And as I said, the program will accommodate the expansion of social protection programs, such as the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, the LEAP program, which is also gathering the support of other donors.
Still staying with this issue, Finance Minister Sid Tekwe maintains the measures outlined in the IMF program are already being worked on.
Call that in 2013, we introduced some tax measures which have been carried on. The only 2 which are temporary, which we carried in the 2015 budget, given the background of the difficulties, were the temporary import duty and the stabilization levy, which are temporary, and when the situation improves, they will be removed, as we have done, in the past. Prudent expenditure measures are always required. I think even everybody acknowledged when we did the whole forum that you cannot spend 70% of your tax revenue to pay only wages for the public sector. It was a policy flaw, a policy that went wrong, and the whole forum agreed on measures to correct them. And that has resulted in the wage constraints, the completion of the migration under the single spine, and the clearance of a substantial arrears in excess of 3 billion Ghana cedis over the last 3 years. It's obvious that we cannot continue on that trajectory. And the realization came among all of us.
Well, we'll see what the reaction is to the IMF deal. We're told that by the close of yesterday, the deal finally had been approved with the IMF staff that had come to Ghana. And so now they need an approval at the board level in Washington. So that's what's going to happen. But let's come to some of the news. And we know that there's been efforts to make sure that the fire that was raging or destroyed stock at the health medical stores at the Tema area is not going to affect the regional medical
stores.
stores.
Well, it is affecting them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to take you to Ashanti, where efforts to replenish stock at the regional medical stores in the region are being hampered by the heavy indebtedness of hospitals and other health facilities.
Well, the stores are owed in excess of some 11 million Ghana cedis.
The Ashanti Regional Health Director, Dr. Alexis Nanbe Fuba, says the medical stores are currently empty. The root of the problem appears to be the failure of the National Health Insurance Authority to pay claims of the hospitals so that they in turn would clear their debts to the medical stores.
The facilities have not been reimbursed for 6 to 8 months. They cannot, they can't function. We buy medicines, nobody gives us medicine free. Now they don't have the money to buy. In fact, the regional medical stores now are empty. And then they even owe suppliers. Look, as I stand now, we open a tender to buy some water.
When you say the regional
medical stores
is empty, what exactly do you mean?
We've given them all the medicines. We have not got money to buy more. We've just opened a tender to buy some more. As of yesterday, only one person brought the quotation.
The medical superintendents group is threatening to start charging cash for their services as external suppliers threaten them with court action. The health superintendents also pointed out the operational challenges have been compounded by the fact that they have to spend more to buy fuel to ensure continuous supply of electricity to their facilities.
I get worried with issues like these. We already have hospitals. We don't have enough stock. We're looking for money for a lot of things. So when I see promises of new projects, I get so worried. Can we better what we have already?
And you know when the incident occurred at Central Medical Stores in Taman, we're told, we have up to 3 months.
3 months.
And
stock,
that already some were on the high seas. Okay. Just like the way we say.
What is high seas?
Just like the way we say plans are far advanced.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for things to be done. But one thing that is ongoing though is a housing project, and it's taking place at Saglemi, and it's near Pram Pram. It's in the first phase, and it's said to be progressing steadily.
Contractors say the project is now 55% complete. Inspecting the project, Minister for Works, Water Resources and Housing Collins Dowder expressed confidence the project will be completed on schedule.
Over the past 15 months, contractors have been busy with earthworks, foundations, drainage and roads at the project site. About 140 units are almost complete, with 9 apartments in each of the 2-story blocks. It all adds up to a total of 1,502 apartments and 147 townhouses. Though the prices of the homes are yet to be ascertained, Water Resources, Works and Housing Minister Collins Dowder announced mortgage packages would be available to make them affordable.
If, for instance, the cost of the building is 10 cedis, and you cannot afford 10 cedis to be able to take your keys, but there's an arrangement in place where the cost of 10 cedis is spread over a long period of time, that you are asked to pay monthly to complete payment. I guess that arrangement makes it affordable for you.
The Brazilian construction firm Construtora OAS Ghana says it is using technologies that make the project eco-friendly.
This technology that we bring from here, you don't have a waste of material. We try to use a lot of areas to be something different, to the people who have a pleasure to live here. The townhouse will be with the ICF, the second one technology, and this is the monolithic concrete wall.
With funding from Credit Suisse in London, it is anticipated that the housing project will form part of a township with amenities like recreational and commercial facilities. Some 1,502 families will be accommodated when this current project is completed in March 2016. However, the number is expected to soar when additional 9,000 housing units are added over the next 5 years. From Saglemi in Pram Pram, Adelaide Arthur for Joy News.
Saglemi. That's the location where the housing project is. And,
okay.
And we're going to 5,000. Is it
1,500? She said.
No, the next 5 years.
Well,
so
I don't know. But you know, there were some affordable housing projects.
Have we completed those?
Presently abandoned, because I think it was the Graphic newspaper that featured sometime last week. So amazing. Just on top of my head, what happens? Okay, no, let me not go there.
There's some good things though about the location of the project itself, Saglemi, because the weather is always good, very close to the coast as well. And talking about the weather and the coast, next we'll have to bring you detailed weather news, and Kamini Nyamani Amano is around the corner to give us detailed news.
All right, stay with us. It's still the AM show.